Does discrimination of race and tribe still exist in the new age?
So I definitely believe that racism and tribalism does still exist in this age. Funny enough, I think it's even worse now because it's kind of they do it now in like not necessarily innuendos, but then it's hidden, and then now it's even sometimes it's even blatant. So there's mothers that will say you cannot marry this guy because if he's not Yoruba, and then because you're Yoruba, and then there's even especially tribalism. Igbo people will tell you that you cannot marry unless the person is Igbo. I've met guys that will be like, "Oh, I really like you. Are you Igbo?" No, probably not gonna work out because my family just told me that I have to marry Igbo kid. And the racism in this country, like racism in general, is deep. And then in this country, it kills me when people come from outside the country and then they're now trying to be racist to Nigerians that live here. And then it's funny because our people give the foreigners priority over us. Mm-hmm. So there's situations where you go to, I don't know, a company or a complex or whatever, and because you're not a white person driving, they might not let you park. But right in front of you, a Muzungu person will come in their car and they will open the gates. Madam, come. See space here for you. And it's like, what? In this country? Are you serious? Even restaurant establishments do it. And it's crazy. So it definitely still does exist.
Can I ask you something? But do you think it is their fault for the racism part? Because I feel like the reason why that is happening is because we were colonized. There's so much like...
Do you think it's whose fault?
White people. Not the white people. Do you think, is it our fault, black people, Nigerians, like grassroots Nigerians? Is it their fault?
I don't think the primitive Nigerian is at fault for like illiterate Nigerians are at fault for giving white people privilege in our own country because they're not educated enough. All they pretty much know is what intellectuals give to them. Do you understand? So me saying like when they see Oyinbo people, they're all like, oh my god, your skin is white, it's different, blah 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 blah. Giving that white privilege, I don't believe it's their fault because colonial masters, they really like fucked up Nigeria, and it takes for a literate person to know not to give them that privilege. That's my own opinion. So I don't think it's their fault, or maybe it might not be their fault they're illiterate, and it might be their fault they're illiterate at the same time.
I think we're our own worst enemies. I would say maybe it's not the white people or the expatriates. Let's just call them that because that's what they are. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it's their fault. I feel like we are our own worst enemies when it comes to that because we put them before we put ourselves.
Yeah,
our society puts them before we put ourselves. But it's Nigerians.
And it's even the same way in all those like
Nigerians that
sectors.
are doing it.
Like in all these oil sectors, and for example, they just call them expatriates and stuff because most of the time they really cannot even do what that Nigerian cannot do.
But because they're white,
but because they're white, they pay them way more. They treat them way better. So I think the problem is for more.
That's a bit of a tricky one because as a Nigerian, if you go to another country, you're also an expatriate. You also get paid more than everybody else there. So you can't really use that part. Yeah, it happens. My friends that work abroad, so that has nothing to do with that part.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's just because you're living your life and you're coming to another country to start a new life.
I want to give a scenario. Sorry if you wanted to talk. I want to give a scenario. Who saw the outrage someone on Twitter tweeted about
Taco Bay.
Taco Bay. So
Yeah.
who saw that?
Yeah, I
post?
saw that.
I didn't see
It was my cousin. My cousin
So-
tweeted about.
So
Can you tell us about that?
So
Cleanliness.
this lady on Twitter tweeted about going to Taco Bay one time and I was really dirty, and then
Who's
she
the
asked,
lady, white lady?
Ozzy,
No,
my
Ozzy,
cousin,
yeah, the Nigerian girl. She went to the Taco Bay and asked the caretakers that why was the beach so she wanted to do a photo shoot, and she found out
Was
that
it
the beach
Friday?
was dirty. No, it wasn't the Friday. It was
Thursday.
Friday. It was a Thursday, and
Was
then
it
she asked the
Thursday?
caretaker. She asked the guys there, the area boys that guy, how far? Why is this beach so dirty? The guy now told her that they only clean the beach on Fridays for the weekend because that's when the white people come.
Yeah.
And then she now put #colorism. So, Adam, who runs the Insta Lagos something, or I think that's his name, now voices out saying,
Another Nigerian.
not another Nigerian,
No.
now he's white.
Okay.
He's,
Foreigner.
he's a foreigner.
And he runs the Nigeria what?
He runs a page on Instagram. So he's just a blogger on Instagram.
Okay.
And he now put up the tweets on his page and went on his own outrage, calling her stupid for saying it's racism. That doesn't he know that doesn't the society know that the beach is being cleaned by one individual, a white Italian lady named so and so, that she takes the initiative of using her money to clean the beach. That you cannot just come and start ratting it out on how they decide to clean the beach because there was no Nigerian doing anything about it. Now, what I want to say is he totally missed the entire point of what our outrage was on.
Yeah.
And it's because he's probably not used to being in a position of being oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
He feels like, because they are the ones doing it, they should be the ones to do it their own way. And I tweeted, if you're going to clean Taco Bay, clean it for everybody, not just your people. That is what we are saying.
But after you've just said what you said, though, because I didn't know the backstory. After you said what you said, is it not possible that local guy that said, that's when the Oyibo people come, could it not just mean the Oyibo people that clean the beach? That's when they come.
Or the people that
That's
pay
what
them
he
to
meant.
clean.
No, that's not what he meant.
How do you know that's not what he meant?
Because he said the beach is only cleaned on Fridays when the white people come. Those were his words.
And the white
Now-
people that come
No,
are the people
No,
that
but he now said that it's
no.
a white person that cleans
No,
the
he
beach.
didn't say the white people are the ones that come and clean the beach. The white people are the ones that come to enjoy the beach.
Yeah, she's
But
saying.
she's the kind of person that funds the cleaning of the beach, but I don't think she's the one that actually makes her white people.
You
Her
see,
white friends clean
why
the
She
does that
doesn't
have
have to speak for everyone though. Like you can't really say what he meant. Nobody can really say, okay, this is where that was coming from.
No, but he called the outrage stupid, but he totally missed the point of why she
But
was.
that's also an opinion. At the end of the day, we can't say that he's not entitled to that opinion because again, we don't really know the dealings of Taco Bay. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? And for him to speak out in that magnitude, that means it's something that he knows that we don't know. So I don't really think we should base that on this.
So basically,
topic.
that's
Someone have tweeted your cousin. What did she do about it?
I think
Why can't she start her own initiative? Why can't she leave the beach?
Okay, I feel like, hold on.
Now
I
you
feel like
see
you guys are all missing
exactly.
the point.
Now
Which is why I suggest that we don't talk about this.
No, I feel like you guys are all missing
We
the
can't
point.
talk about
I'm
this
even going to bring it back to what we're actually talking about here.
yeah.
Our society has, for some reason, still has inbuilt inferiority.
Yeah.
Our people are still very inferior. They still feel like the white. That's why there's people there's lots of celebrities that have had babies or they couldn't have babies and they went and they adopted mixed race babies or white babies, but they did not adopt black babies or they did not try and get black babies.
Yeah, but there are white people that also adopt black babies.
Yeah, no, that's not the point. I'm saying that our society generally just has this mentality that the white blood is more superior. So this whole white is best, straight hair, all these different things. So this whole thing of the person saying the street guy making that statement, whether or not there's a woman that comes to come and clean, he in his mind he still feels like yes, the white people that are coming are the superior people, and that's why the beach is clean. Whether or not anything, this is what his mentality is, and that's what our society is. So there is definitely still racism in our age, and there's definitely still tribalism in our age. So for people to even try and be playing it down that Nigeria there's no racism or there's
Now to talk about tribalism, you said something, Sajid, earlier. You said something about, and I get that. Like even till now, when I'm not going to go all the way into that, but even if you look at politics, like it's probably like one of our biggest issues. But let's not even go there. You made an example about maybe you meet somebody and then you guys start talking and then the person is like, I like you, but you're not Igbo. I mean, that's tribalism. But then also I feel like with other things that you would look at before getting married to somebody, like it's someone's culture. And our cultures are very different. Do you understand? Like, for example, now I'm Yoruba,
as a Yoruba girl, you're expected to kneel down and this is just a random thing, to kneel down to greet your in-laws. An Igbo person can say, oh, okay, I'll just handshake. Do you understand? I feel like, okay, as opposed to just saying, oh, it's just a tribalism thing. Like, it's something that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. So you actually have to be able to put yourself, like, it's not like a one-way thing. Do you understand? It's about kind of like meeting in the middle as well, like trying to understand the culture of like other people. And if you're going to be with somebody for a long time and their culture is very different from yours, there's going to be conflict and there's going to be a lot of like back and forth, which is why some people would just rather avoid it in the first place. Do you understand? So when it comes to relationships, I kind of understand people that still want to, unless you are ready to go outside of your comfort zone and go all out for your partner.
But nowadays,
I get why you would want to do that.
Said, but I think I noticed nowadays people like to be like, okay, like now for instance, if she cares about you or if you care about her, you can be like, okay, I can learn your culture because I really care about you. I will learn. Your father doesn't want me to prostrate. Okay, we prostrate in our own land as a Yoruba man. Igbo people find it offensive when you're trying to prostrate. But yes, they do. They do. They want you to shake them firmly. It shows that you're a man. Yeah. That's what they like. That's how they like it. So I've been in that situation before that I did like this, and the guy was like, what's wrong with you? Are you joking? Do you get? But I needed to learn that, okay, I need to shake you. Let's discuss politics. Let's discuss stuff. They need to see that, okay, where their daughter is going to, this guy can take good care of them. So you need to know, if you know you want to go through with that, you need to be ready to learn. If not, rather just have it the easier way. Just go through.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that was just on tribalism. That was my take on tribalism. Yeah. Now the thing with racism, and I've we've said a lot of stuff like, oh yeah, Josie said, oh, we're because we're colonized. All of us here, we're all colonized now. Do you understand? Like, what makes it different? I feel like what makes it different is our level of education. Of course. Now, see me, even before me, I was racist. Because I said before, because if you actually go and read about black culture, you as a black person, you will not see a white person and be smiling. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they sorry, don't speak. But like I just had to get to a place where I was like, you know what, at the end of the day, if we keep going, if we keep going around in circles, like at what point like does it stop? What we need to do, all people that are watching this need to do, people that are still dealing with racism or people that are still dishing out racism, they need to educate themselves. Now, before we actually start shooting, I gave an example. I was in my building like a few weeks ago. I was moving into a new place, and because I was not wearing my wig, I had all back on my head. I was carrying load. I was sweating. I entered the lift, and the guy just started shouting at me. An Indian man, why would you hold the lift? Like he legit went off on me. Like I was so shocked. But by the time I gave it back to him, I was like, guy, you can't talk to me like that. I had to give it to him there and then. Like, I feel like a lot of people would just let it go, like, okay, I won't say anything, or I wouldn't do anything, or just like leave it. We need to be able to stand our ground when these things happen. Another scenario I actually want to give, and I'll wait to summarize it so that I don't waste too much time talking. I was in Yankee like a few months ago, and I went into a store where they were selling like luxury items, and the guy came to meet me, and the guy asked me if I was in the right store. I didn't understand what he meant. He asked me again, said, did you not mean to be in the dollar store? I remember, I think I called Taji. I was so like my friend that lives there just said, Shaitan, let's just go. There were two sisters. The person told me, bro, that's this dollar store. My second friend was like, Shaitan, I feel like you have, because I was like, I don't know, should I? One of my friends was like, Shaitan, let's just go. Then I was like, Shaitan, I feel like you want to say something. Go back and say something. And I went and I told him, I said, you don't know me now. Do you understand? Because you see me now, I'm just black. Am I smelling? Am I dressing appropriately? You don't even know how much I'm making. Like, because you see me, do you get what I'm saying? And this is something that they go through. Like, my friends live in Michigan. Michigan is like one of the places that they are like really racist. I feel that as Nigerians and as Africans, wherever we go, we should not let anybody suppress. Don't let anybody ride you. Like, we have social media now. Take it. Those people, they're afraid. Take it to the farthest. Do you understand? And don't be racist to
If you read about what these people did, white people did to black people, like you will never give them. You never let them have any inch. Do you understand? But normally, we know that we have to just forget it. We have to forget it, and we have to just treat them as we want to be treated as well. It's not as if you just treat them like shit, because even a lot of black people still treat them anyhow. Like, okay, fuck off. You get how I mean? Fuck off because you're white. They're trying to, even when they try to be extremists, even when they're not even trying to do anything, they just be like, okay, fuck off, you're white. Do you know what you did in the past? Blah, 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 this and this. Do you get? We should just try to just give what we want to. Do you understand? That's what I think.
But on a wide scale, let's talk about America because I feel like that's where racism probably happens.
No, I'm sorry to say. Huh?
Why now?
Just finish.
On a wider scale, reverse colorism, black people being racist. Okay, black people can call white people names, call them, I don't even know what names they can, but whatever they can do, but can they actually discriminate against a white person in order for them not to be able to have their rights or do things that they're supposed to do, like the way a white person can discriminate against a black person?
It's very much possible if a black person is in power.
But
it's possible like in a business. Don't
So
say
if you
that.
put in that context, though, yeah, in America,
In America, black people do their own things.
Yes.
White people are the majority. Whether it is even a black person doing it, the white people are the majority.
course.
So the majority is usually
White.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not something that you can exactly justify because they can't really do it back because they're the minority.
Exactly.
But you see, it doesn't even make it right if they are even able to be racist to them as well. It doesn't make it right. And then everyone has kind of been going back about, like, if you read what they've done. I personally, sitting here, I've never felt oppressed. I've never felt stigmatized. I've never felt bullied. You know, so even in terms of...
So you've never experienced racism?
Not really, no. Because it's really what you make of it, to me, honestly. I've been to local stores in America, and I would see like the attendant follow me. Do you understand? I don't read any meaning to it.
So what if somebody walked up to you and asked you if you meant
I haven't experienced it. So
If you don't read meaning to it, then you wouldn't even notice the person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean it's not there. I was getting there. So to me, it's helping me.
Sorry for himself.
To me, it's helping me. He wants to see what I'm sorting out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, because again, it's really all up in your mind. John, I have friends in America saying it automatically. They're really like, that idiot is. So it's on them.
No, I don't think it's fair to say that.
I'm speaking for myself.
Let him speak.
For himself.
I am speaking for myself, and I feel like I have a right. It's on the white person he hasn't said anything to me, so it's on the white person.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I would only treat you based on how you've treated me. So if I read a book about how white people treated black people, and I even saw a film, to me it doesn't mean I'll carry that with me. I have to feel it.
Yeah,
that's just me. I have to feel it. So now, if with you saying that person treated you some sort of way, not that it's right, but I think to me that was more of perception as opposed to race.
No, it was definitely race.
To me, it felt to me. I'm not saying it's not.
It
felt to me more.
I get where he's coming from. It's a perception thing. Because if you had your wig on, if you were looking up black, you would never talk to me like that.
I'm not talking about America. I'm talking about
Are you saying it's now right for him to talk to a black person because they are the help?
Black people do that too. Black people do that to help as well.
See, let me just say.
If it was a black person doing that, we will not say it's racism.
Let me just say.
So do you understand what I'm saying? If it was a black person doing this to you, you wouldn't say that it was racism. It would just be, madam, please, I work here. I'm not a house girl. I'm not a sweeper. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. Yeah. It's just how we treat ourselves as people, whether white or black or Indian.
You know, we're here talking about this entire racism and tribalism thing. I think the one thing that really jumps out for me is racism. And Papa is basically saying that it's in your mind. I mean, I get that, like, the change starts from your mind, but then we still need to address certain situations that are already happening and people are living in. Fortunately for me, I feel like when it comes to racism, I'm at the standpoint of at every time you might feel disrespected or feel like because of your color, you are being treated at a disadvantage, then you need to say something about it. So
to me, it's more about how you make me feel. Okay. I have never, maybe because maybe I haven't experienced racism or tribalism because I don't look out for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Please, no one should like misunderstand me. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but that is not like what I'm seeing. That's not what that's not my first instinct. When something happens to me, they're trying to oppress me. I don't have anything to prove. So if I went into a store, to me, and that thing happened, You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what I would have done. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I haven't experienced it. But to me, I feel like the most important thing is everybody is driven by a perception. Even as individuals, when you look at somebody's Instagram, you already have a perception of them. Yeah. Do you understand? So before racism comes in, it's how they've profiled you. Nice shoot, Hemet's back. It's the world we live in. Do you understand? We're very shallow.
Yeah.
So racism plays in different angles, but I think the birth of it is how you are being perceived. So if you went there looking out, they are going to serve you tea. I've been to stores in Paris where they didn't open the front door for me when I was walking in. And when I was leaving the store with like 10 bags, everybody was giving me their cards. It's life. If you two had a store and somebody came and they're just window shopping and they don't buy anything, you won't say anything, they come again. You'll be drinking tea. It's life.
It happened in Pretty Woman.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sorry.
And that's white. That was Julia. That was white to white.
Can I talk about it?
So it's all about turning perception more than anything.
Yeah, I agree with Papa. I've never been oppressed or stigmatized before too, and I feel like the society that we live in, I think our parents have already instilled that tribalism in us.
Yeah.
So like your parents, when you're growing up, they always say, "Oh, my baby, Waleo. Don't bring our outside girl home," and everything, those kind of stuff, you know. So, but I feel like we also need to change that. So, because when we become fathers and mothers, we have to put in our child that you can bring anybody home as long as you're gonna be happy with that child, with that partner. Yeah. So I think that's.
I feel like in America. Sorry. In America, we don't say. Are you a New Yorker? Are you from California? We don't say things like that. You are American. Here, where are you Nigerian? Yes, I'm Yoruba. We don't see ourselves as
different cultures, different languages.
Let me tell you something. Sorry, off what he said. I want to just ask you a question.
Okay.
You personally, can you marry out of your own tree?
Yes, I can. I can marry a white person.
I'm
all about religion. I don't care where she comes from.
I need to say something concerning that. Okay. My lecturer was telling me she lost her husband while I was in school. She was telling me when I went to visit her that because she knows that I went for my NYC camp in Enugu. She said don't get married to an Igbo man. She was telling me off of experience because you may love the person regardless of the person's tribe, but it gets to a certain point that the family comes in. Yeah. She went through a whole lot when her husband died. Like she went through a whole lot. She was losing weight. She stopped coming to work. She went through a lot, and that's because of the tribe, the tradition of the tribe.
But I don't know. I have a friend whose parents are Yoruba. His father died first. They were dealing with his mom. And his mother passed not too long ago. And his mother's family, they even want to send them out of the house that they're living.
Papa,
do you understand what I'm saying? So it's not about tribe.
I think that all has to do with how traditional they are.
I need to respond to what myself. It has to do with how traditional they are. But there are certain tribes that will tell you, okay, your husband is there now. You have to come and marry.
So that's what we said in the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, but the parents cannot go back to start educating themselves. The family members cannot go back to go and start educating themselves. And nobody wants to. Let me just finish. Nobody wants to understand that it's a new age and anybody can marry whoever they want. Because if the person's husband dies by some terrible fortune, the woman will have to do.
You're marrying somebody. You're marrying his tradition. You're marrying his heritage. You're marrying his culture. You're marrying everything about the person. If this teacher, if she knew what she was getting into, she had a choice to either not marry him or stick with it. It is their tradition. We're not here to say it's right or it's wrong.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is their tradition.
First of all,
if it was another Igbo girl with the same tradition, she probably wouldn't feel bad or she wouldn't feel like she was.
Because she's
that's why tribalism exists. Because a Yoruba girl that doesn't have that kind of tradition will not be able to deal with what she went through.
I think the point that she's trying to make, there are two things she's trying to say here. The first thing is that, see, even this example we are giving, there are people that you see, like, to the extent that I have, like, some of my friends' they will ask you, what village is she from? Because it's good, because even as Igbo people, there are people that, even people, do you understand what I'm saying? As what Papa is trying to say, what Papa is trying to say to you is that, see, whether or not, whether you might from someone from the north, south, whatever it is, as an individual, before you get married to that person, it is your duty and your right to do your research to the T.
I understand. That is what people would perceive as tribalism. You are saying you don't want to marry this person because it's invested, but it's because you have done your research and you know that you don't want to be married.
But it's the same way you do your research and you find out that the person you're dating is a
do you understand that there's still invested people? There's still people from a certain tribe.
What's Mbese?
It's a tribe, and even these invested people hate themselves.
Yeah,
I have a friend that's Mbese, and she doesn't like telling people that she's Mbese because people have a certain perception about them.
What's perception? Where's that from?
I don't know.
It's from Imo. That's where Valerie is from. That's why I know.
The point I'm trying to make is that this is what people would perceive as tribalism. I said I don't want to marry an Mbese person.
Tribalism, when it comes to marriage, is quite complex because people decide not to marry people of certain tribes because of other things like their traditions or their norms and their values that the other person cannot live with. Like that could be called tribalism. People perceive it as tribalism, but something that has to be done. I remember when my lecturer in school was telling me not to marry an Igbo man because she got married to an Igbo man and she knows what she went through when she lost her husband. May so rest in peace. So that's like a really strong reason why people have to actually, risk being a bit tribalistic. And somebody was talking about how if the guy and the girl love each other, then it shouldn't be a problem. But it doesn't. It gets to a point. I mean, for example, God forbid, if the husband is dead, how does love help you? Like if the husband is dead and then some parts of their tradition states that you have to, I don't know, get married to his brother to keep the lineage going or something funny. I know things like that happen. Or they have to cut your hair, every part of your body. It's just some like really weird things. But then, like, love is not going to save you, babes. You're going to go through all that because that's what the tradition requires of you, which is not very. It's not very, very like pleasing.
That's the person's tribe. You don't want to marry the person because of the person's tribe. What's the right?
But
it's not. I'm saying
I think tribalism is treating somebody differently because of their tribe.
Yeah, that's
so
what tribalism is.
Yoruba people ultimately look down on any other tribe because they feel like they're superior. Yoruba people they're loud, they're very flamboyant, very arrogant.
Flamboyant, but I don't think.
Hold on. Yes, but that's not pronounced. Theirs is not pronounced. But theirs is not even pronounced.
All these some people also, but my name was.
I'm saying as a Yoruba man, I know that it's Yoruba people that are always feeling superior to other tribes.
Just like
so, we as a Yoruba person, we have a stronger role to play because we are the cause of it. We are not going to blatantly say why. Who is that? North is too far. But the truth of the matter is that
people too they do
guys, again, yes, our families, our parents, they've played their own roles. You understand what I'm saying? They've played their own roles. A lot of marriages, a lot of people are unhappy. A lot of people are in bad marriages. A lot of people are not with the right partner because of this. They feel that they're in prison to this. You as an individual, play the primary role.
It's your responsibility.
You understand what I'm saying? So don't let when anything happens. You shouldn't be a state of I'm not aware. And again, it goes back to love. If you really love somebody, you love what makes them happy. My mother will not come and tell me because of how it makes her feel or how it makes her look to not marry somebody that is Igbo because she's Yoruba. That's selfish. My mom always tells me that the love of her life is an Igbo man. And she feels like she had married that Igbo man, she would have been a happier woman. So I think she would never even do that to me. But that's me just being lucky that my mom is that exposed. Do you understand? So we also need to try as much as possible in our everyday lives. Like, where did I make this statement? I also people to them bad. It is not about that. I don't see it. Nobody's better than me. Nobody's better than me. It's the truth. You guys know me. You guys know me. But it has nothing to do with tribalism as an individual. I don't come here and I already act like I'm better than anybody. I don't act like the smartest. I don't want to have the last voice. Do you understand? So it boils down to individuality. Beyond tribalism, beyond racism.
I haven't had much to say on this issue because, as Papa said, I haven't felt oppressed in any way. Black people are always quick to play the racist card. They're always quick to go back to being oppressed in so and so. Yeah, I mean, Kanye West said it in the song that racism is still alive. They're just concealing it. I mean, Mo Farah went through Turkey. Mo Farah is a
What country did that happen in again?
It happened in Turkey, somewhere in the Middle East. So I mean, for the fact that someone of that status and caliber is actually still going through that, so just imagine that they're just the next guy. They're just the normal guy still trying to make your way.
Sorry, but if you're saying that, then how will you now say black people are always so quick to jump?
But black people are cool. That's like a different way of
even when it's not even about racism, even in America, even before the white people even come, even the police guys and black people always try to initiate the fight. So we're already like always defensive.
I've been stopped because the closest I've come to like an altercation. I was in the car with my friend, and this was in America, and we're going interstate, and the police stopped us because he was going, I think, 5 miles above the speed limit, and he stopped us, and he saw that there was drink in the car, and he saw that my friend had drunk. They didn't really say anything to me because I was just a passenger, and he told me to come outside, and he asked, "Are we from here?" I was like, "He lives here, but we're both Nigerians." He was like, "No wonder." That I'm just going to tell you guys now, the reason why I'm not going to give you a ticket is because of how you guys have handled this. I'm just going to tell you that you may meet another policeman who may not be as lenient as me. Okay. But I would advise that he was a white man. I would advise that you throw the bottles away, because he was smelling of alcohol and he saw proof that this person was drinking. But because we did not argue, the person was really he said no, and it was just 5 miles above the speed limit. So he saw that it was something that he could, and everybody as a human being, there are times that you can waste stuff, but then we had the power to make that go left, even if that guy was giving us hot. Do you understand what I'm saying? But because we maintained our cool, my friend especially maintained our cool. My fiance and I too were traveling, and they stopped us. Good afternoon, sir. As soon as it got, I was like, "Good afternoon." He was like, "Good afternoon, madam." I'm going to let you go with a warning. These are two different occasions. Do you understand? But if we were to be, my friend, we're going into my phone was telling me, if we were to be an Black American, why are you stopping me? They're really
I feel like that's different because they've grown up in a different society. I'll give you an example. These two girls that I was out with, they're both doctors. Like they left Nigeria.
Again, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist.
No, you're
I've
saying
said
that if this was
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. We as individuals, what is your have the power? Anything that person can be racist. It's up to you to react how you. Because at the end of the day, it's all in the mind.
I think the main issue here is, like I said on during the episode, Papa's views are completely warped. And the reason why Papa's views I feel like they're so warped is because he has some kind of, not even some kind of, he's talking from a place of privilege, a privileged background. And it's almost like his privileged background has sheltered him so much that he hasn't necessarily seen the rest of the world. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm fortunate enough to have seen, different sides of the world, or different parts of the world, and seeing how people in different countries live. And so I've maybe fortunately or unfortunately have experienced racism, and it has made me a little open to certain situations. I just feel like I don't understand why he was making some really stupid statements. Statements like, "Oh," and I'm surprised because this is my friend. Papa's that's my dude. So I'm just like, wow, okay. This is really how you think that people that are, being that are victims or being on the other end of racism it's a choice. They should ignore it. They should act like it's not happening. They should, choose to ignore it because it's all in the mind.
Now, speaking of what Shaitan and Taji, Shaitan and Papa have spoken about tribalism and racism, I want to just add and speak of Black privilege. None of you have actually mentioned that is also an aspect of racism. But
Black privilege people, or white privilege?
Black. You see, you've never heard of Black privilege. You don't think you have privilege. You asking me why Black privilege means you don't think you have Black privilege. Do you think you have Black privilege?
On a worldwide scale, no.
On a worldwide scale, no.
No.
Papa mentioned that he's never experienced oppression, blah blah blah, which means he's well in tune with black privilege. He doesn't see racism because he doesn't feel oppressed. Black people need to embrace black privilege. If somebody is trying to belittle you, look at them. You look at them and say, "Yo, white man, you can't treat me that way."
Which is what I did.
Which is what she did when she walked back to the.
So now she's trying exercising her black privilege.
Look, I am a human being. So what? I'm black. And we need to stay away from.
Privilege actually gets them things and gets them places. So where is black privilege getting anyone?
Thank you. It's making you feel better with yourself.
Look. You asking that question. You asking that question.
You're belittling yourself already.
You asking that question exactly. Is you taking black privilege and throwing it away and saying it's useless because
it's not useless. Society has useless.
But it starts you saying society has useless is you also admitting that you're part of the society. You're part of the society. You have to. You don't think you have privilege because you are black.
So I feel like the issue with this panel is the fact that they're not understanding what white privilege is. Now, white privilege. Let's say a white person is doing the bare minimum and a black person is working 10 times harder, the white person is still getting ahead. That is what white privilege is. Demilade said that black people aren't exercising their privilege. But what privilege? The fact that somebody is treating you wrong and you are reporting it or you're fighting against it, that is not exercising a privilege. That is just being a human. That is just fighting for your own human rights. Black people don't have black privilege like white people have white privilege because they're not fighting for anything. If you're fighting for something, that's not exercising black privilege. That is just exercising your rights as a human being.
And white people have made you think that way, and you're embracing that one instead of embracing your black privilege. It's the same thing with tribalism. Papa said because it's Yoruba and Yoruba people feel more exposed and Yoruba people feel more educated, that they feel like they're more superior. It is true. When they colonized Nigeria, they settled with us. When they went to the north, they threw them away. And then we, as a society, belittled the Igbos and killed them. That's tribalism.
Do you have any Igbo person here?
No. And you want to say something?
It's all right. So the Igbos are also afraid of us. If you want to know anything about oppression, go and speak to an Igbo person. They will tell you what oppression is as a black person from a black person. Because white Yoruba people, Hausa people are in tune with black privilege and they belittle the Easterners. The same thing with the side that every country has every African country has black privilege. So and I'm trying to say that as black people, we need to stop feeling oppressed. Because it's not going to stop. White people have their privilege. They don't, like you just said,
and they understand it.
And they are in tune with their privilege. They know they have the privilege. So that means, like now, okay, let me give you one thing I know that white people are oppressed about. Saying the word nigger in public. Do you know how
is that an oppression?
Listen. Have you spoken to a white person before? I ask her, why can't I say nigger? They don't understand why it's derogatory to us. Now, we call ourselves niggers. And we say, nigger alpha, because it's okay with us. You think they don't want to feel among that circle of people saying...
feel among? Don't they
exactly.
Behind the word?
They won't. You don't understand. They actually want to because it's a cool thing we do to ourselves.
Sure. All the songs have
words they cannot say in public.
It's sad that somebody will say that they don't have any privilege at all. And you think that anytime you fight for your right as a human being, you're fighting for your rights as a human being, forgetting that you're also a black human being. I'm not going to speak too much about the issues of racism, but black privilege exists. I'm just trying to explain to black people that black privilege has been reduced so much by white privilege, has been overshadowed so much by white privilege. We don't even think we have privilege anymore. And then when you think you're fighting for your right, you think you're fighting for yourself as one sole human being. But that is what they have reduced black privilege to. I can say these things because yes, I'm privileged. I'm privileged ordinarily as a Nigerian because yes, because Yoruba, I didn't suffer in my childhood and everything. But yeah, I have that privilege. So I may not see the oppression that most people see. because I don't believe I can get oppressed. I believe in my black privilege. I believe in my privilege, and because I'm black, I call that privilege black privilege. That's what I'm trying to explain to people, that black privilege exists and you need to embrace and fight for it. And if all black people fight for their rights every single time, people will actually see that this privilege that we're fighting for, it belongs to us. We deserve it. And it's called black privilege.
I really agree with what Demilade is saying, because again, it starts from the mind.
It's a individual thing.
Now, again, I might say that I'm not white, I haven't lived there, but the black people that have lived in America, probably they still haven't let go. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, exactly, they've lived a different society. That's what I'm saying. They still haven't let go of it. Maybe because it's still happening and not as much. But again, it all starts in the mind. If you give them the power to say, you can call me nigga, do you understand what I'm saying? Then it's no more a problem.
Can I say something?
Do you understand what I'm saying? But we're walking around eggshells because you're still trying to glorify that word. Because if you call me a nigga, it's reminding me of 50,000 years where my grandfather and my grandmother were slaves to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I personally feel like, again, as black people, whether I'm in America, whether I'm in London, whether I'm in Germany, racism exists. But as black people, we need to empower our minds. These things, we can choose to use them as we want.
Demilade mentioned something about black privilege. It's sort of hard to point out black privilege in the society we live in this day, because like I said on the episode, like, you know, you want to say you want to live for a black privilege, you turn on your TV, the first thing you see is a story of a man that was shot in his own backyard whilst holding a cell phone. No gun. Like, literally, people were afraid of going out. So now you're hearing that someone gets shot in his own backyard. Meanwhile, the white kid that, you know, that did the mass shooting, like killed so many people, was actually taken alive. So you hear of these circumstances, and you're wondering that what is really going on? Can you actually place a finger and say there is such a thing as black privilege? I think, as much as I want to disagree with Demilade on that one, I know people often play the race card. Black people are quick to reach for the race card that, they're feeling oppressed. But people that can actually relate to that oppression, we're only talking about this because we haven't had, people who haven't had personal, let me speak for myself, I haven't had any personal experience of being stigmatized because of the color of my skin. So I can't really speak on a first-hand basis on that issues. But people that have actually experienced it, they know what it's like. They have every right to be upset because, these things actually, they actually exist, and we just have to find ways of curbing it. That's it.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you want it to affect you, it would, and if you don't, it wouldn't. Okay. That's what I think.
Please. Okay, I feel like we're for some reason we seem to think that racism is only happening in America and some parts of Nigeria. I don't think so. We've made statements like, because they're not letting go of the racism, that's why they're not dealing with it, or some stories along those lines. I've experienced racism on so many different scales and so many different levels because I lived in South Africa. The racism in South Africa is so inbred that even the black people have xenophobia towards other black people. It is so inbuilt that it's like it's. I don't even have to explain how much racism can mess up an entire generation of human beings. So to say that, they should just leave it's in their mind. Yes, you need to be a stronger individual to say that, despite the fact that there's so much racism going on in Jews. Like, when I moved to Johannesburg, I was like, I came from England to Johannesburg, and the racism was ridiculous. And it was such a joke. Like, I was like, it was a culture shock. For me, a black person to say that I come to another black nation and it's a culture shock, I was like, what is going on here? From England, that's there. Everybody tries to.
Can you explain what xenophobia is?
Xenophobia is when you have a problem. So, for example, now South Africans have a problem with Nigerians generally. So that's why they're getting us up and down, those kind of things. Because for whatever reason, from it being, they think, we think that we're more superior. It's different things. They feel like Nigerians are somewhat close to the white man because we have money, we do all different types of things. So they've kind of placed us there. So they have a problem with us. And they have a problem, to be honest, most people that come and have the so-called white man power. So that's xenophobia. But in South Africa, when I moved to South Africa, I was literally like, because in England, even if they're racist to you, they kind of hide it. So it's subtle. It's little innuendos. In Joburg, in South Africa,
nobody's scared.
Nobody gives a damn. That's what the society is. So you cannot. My point is that you cannot just say that
it's in someone's head.
You cannot just say that it's in someone's head.
So it's
a whole generation that has been literally fucked up.
And having to conditioned to behave that way. That's true.
Your mind. No.
So that's what I'm trying to say. They've lived in a society where they face oppression.
Guy, you cannot tell these people, especially South Africans, for example, you cannot tell a South African man that you need to sit down and condition your mind when a white man in South Africa is blatantly racist to you. In South Africa, a white man is not trying to be subtle with his racism. He's racist full stop.
I wanted to say something. Do you know the meaning of white privilege? Because the way you're throwing around this privilege word, hold on. White privilege is, I work in the same store as you. I'm getting paid $9 per hour and you're getting paid $16 per hour.
That's not in anyone's head.
That's not no one's head.
That's what I'm talking about. That's my thing. In South Africa, the racism is not in your head.
Going guys, it's very bad. Again, you're being a victim.
Exactly.
How many times do the black people have the same experience, same I'm not saying it doesn't. But how many times?
Okay, let me
how many times?
So are you
talking about it? Guys, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Papa, let me give you an example. So now, let me give you an example.
I'm not saying it doesn't
exist. Two of my cousins.
But I'm saying listen, Cheta, hold on.
Same thing.
Let me just respond to what she said. Let me respond to what she said. She said that doesn't have to do with mind, right? Now, you are working in an establishment. I'm white. You're black. We feel like we're on the same pay grade. First of all, it's only HR that knows how much anyone's getting paid. So I don't know how it's knowledge to you to know that how much I'm being, except for our friends. Okay, so let's even say that's the case. Now, you are not aware of the person's experience. You're not aware of about the way the person got the job. There's so many times that you come from a back door and listen, I worked even in Lagos here, and I did not like I'd worked before, and I was earning more than people that had experience.
You've been saying, okay, she's in Michigan, she's a victim, she used to live where she is. Now, coming from a place, like now, I lived in Canada almost half of my youth. Now, everywhere, every province, every territory is predominantly white. When I first moved to Canada, I was living in a place where the amount of black people only 5,000 out of a 30,000 population of white people. So now I try to tell me that, okay, now in Fort St. John, I'm not getting paid as much as this white person because I'm a victim. I will now leave and go to the next city, next town, next state. It's the same thing. It is the same thing.
What's the same thing?
It's the same thing. America has more black people than Canada. In Canada, everywhere you go, you see about maybe it's only 5% of black people in a whole 95% white population. So kind of making hold on. It's not unfair because that is the reality we live.
More. That places that black
okay, I'll be right you more. Let me tell you, it's not even a valid. That's why I give that example.
That places that black people earn more than white people.
It's something that we even had a conversation. She actually said, Shaitan, I actually want to move to you. By the time you go, so even if she makes money, does that? Do you realize that somebody has been living there? She actually has finished paying mortgage on her house.
I'm not contradicting myself. I'm not. I feel like
you guys talk one by one. I feel like you guys are actually getting this thing mixed up.
Okay.
Papa's point is valid. Shaita's point is valid. To be honest with you, if let's forget about tribalism here. Even in any situation that you are, if you feel like you're being oppressed, so there's some black people that situation happens to them, they don't feel oppressed. If you feel like you're being a victim, you have a choice.
No, you don't always have a choice. He's talking about someone that doesn't get paid, doesn't have enough money.
Because
what are you talking about?
Even quitting her job.
See, she said her job. She said the people are white.
I'm not saying it's right.
What you expect?
Remove emotions. Quitting her job, is a choice. Making a move is a choice. Whatever you do, anything in life,
you can't say.
I don't understand. I'll try to proper cut short. If
everybody has. Nobody can afford to make
Yes,
privilege. To make it that's
Yeah,
that's the problem. You're talking from a very privileged background. So because of that, you believe that. Like for example, now there's something that you said that literally I've just been sitting here like, what? That you're saying that, who says that the person and me and the person, this is a white man and I'm the black person, who says that he doesn't have more experience than me because he's earning more than me? You made that statement.
What if that is I said no. I didn't say that. Listen to what I said. Do not say what if sometimes like that. I said it could be a situation whereby the person has more experience. Let's not victimize ourselves. Because it's really more for me because I'm white. So what did I say again that made you freak out?
No, you said that. That's what you said.
Yes.
No problem.
So listen to me more so that understand what I'm saying.
I've heard you. And you're talking from a very privileged background. Very privileged background. Because the kind of things. No, I don't think you're privileged. I don't think
Okay, but so honestly, thank God. Guys, calm down, please.
Anyway, me, I totally understand what Shaitan was saying. How would you say that this is where you grew up all your life? This is where you have been working, things that you've been doing. You're a doctor. Somebody, you are not trying to attend to somebody, and the person be like, don't touch me, no, don't touch me. Do you get? Because you're what? Because you're black. You want to, how much?
What can the establishment do?
I think it's crazy.
This is the doctor that we have available.
Who say that?
The hospital can do that.
And
First of all, everybody has a doctor. Everybody, you can have your own doctor. Even in Lagos, you can have.
Who is paying the hospital?
Listen.
Guys,
two things. Listen.
Patient can require ask for the doctor.
Yes, a patient can have.
And they can also reject the doctor that
yes, but again, if it was a white doctor, I've seen situations whereby people have said they don't want the same one because they're not comfortable enough. Because with health, it's a very emotional or sensitive thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a bond. You feel like this person got you. So yes, this person might have been wrong for saying that, but it might be that she's emotionally attached to her white doctor.
No, she said,
so Papa, hold on, I have one question. You said that
she feels like because she's black.
Yeah, there's two trying to sort it out.
You said that before you get to
we want you guys to understand that.
Yes, I'm okay.
But I can understand.
I'm not saying nothing happened. I understand why I said. Go on, please.
You said so. If there's a situation where there's this white guy and this black girl, they go for the same job. They're granted the same job, and then they find out that the guy is earning more, the white guy is earning more, or whatever. Let's say they're both guys because if it's girl, it's like different story. So let's say they're both guys. So the white guy is earning more, but the black guy has more experience. How do you explain that? It's choice too.
Tajay, please. This is.
No, I'm waiting for your answer.
Speak how? I won't speak on that. I'm sorry.
Forget that. So nothing they ever say. It's like you're just talking as if you don't see what's going on in front of you.
Let me, Papa, first of all,
I've told you several times that I'm aware of racism, even though I haven't experienced.
Papa, I'm speaking.
I'm only saying
Papa,
that.
I'm talking. Papa, please.
Moderator, handle your shit.
That was you. That was you being privileged. Me telling you to keep quiet because I wanted to speak.
Quick, can you sit down? Thank you.
Now, Papa, accept that you're privileged.
Yes, I am. I guess I am.
Thank God.
Let me try and explain where they are coming from because I've also got their side of you. You said that she should just get up and move or sell her house or that is how she should just get up. Papa, speaking, please. There was something for I said that nobody heard because nobody allowed anything. Papa!
Personally.
Let it talk.
He's speaking.
Papa, I am staring at you to shut up.
Jeez, really?
Listen to me. I want to speak.
Just listen.
Why are you yelling?
I'm going to teach you some manners. Yes.
I'm not listening.
For what I said something that you failed to understand or failed to listen. She said they put her in a position where she has no choice. She has to take the suppression and the oppression because there's nothing else she could do. You failed to ask one question to what Mr. Eton said. I asked Eton, what did your auntie do after you said don't? Well, after the person said don't touch me because you are black, she reported and said that the case is still going on. That was her choice. That was her exercising her black.
So I never said anything about do this or do that. You said no. But he just
accepting suppression, saying I'm not going to do anything about this because I am black.
But then you've answered my question. You said that was a choice. I only said she had a choice. In regardless of the situation, she has choices. Forget that opting up and doing all that thing. She has a choice.
I'm still talking about
the reason why
I'm still talking about.
That's the question.
And I'm asking you, which one is it?
Let me just move down. I think we can nominate here. Now, let me ask you. Let me say to the days we are now. I understand somebody accepting suppression because there's nothing else they can do. They have no choice. I understand there are situations where black people in the Western world are in that position. You now said, what has black privilege done for black people? You've asked that question. Very easy. I mean, it's a very, very good question you've asked. What has not doing anything about black privilege done for black people? Nothing. Now, I'm going forward. White people and white privilege has suppressed black privilege so far down, you still think you don't have any privilege. The little action that your auntie took by taking it up to management and then look, this person said I cannot touch her because she's black. Was her exercising the little black privilege left for her? She's fighting. She has made a choice. She has said, I am not going to accept this oppression.
And I said that you said I'm privileged. But I said that you said I'm privileged. I said that you said I'm privileged. I said she has the power in her mind to control the situation.
Please wait. I just want to say something really quickly. There's nothing. See, that is not black privilege. That is you fighting for your own right.
My nigga, I have black privilege. I'm not white man. I tell me nothing. I've been to countries.
You fighting white people for yourself.
That is my black privilege. That is black privilege. I am black and that's my privilege. Black privilege. Accepting oppression.
I believe that there is black privilege.
You guys keep quiet.
The point I was saying that is white privilege because the white person isn't fighting for shit.
White people fight.
That is what black privilege is not shit. Privilege is
I'll say, there's no such thing. Papa is right. Your opinions are like your opinion. You believe you have privilege. You believe you have privilege. You don't have privilege. It's your choice. Let me finish. I'm not just. I'm going to talk right now. Let me talk.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to finish because I've been looking at you guys just talking things.
You have to finish.
You understand?
Please finish.
He believes there's a choice when you are being suppressed. Do you understand? He believes there's a choice, right? Yeah. You believe there's no choice that victim, if a victim be there and die there. You too. The same thing. And I'm going to give you a scenario. I have a friend who was a footballer in London. Do you understand? He gave me an experience. He said something to me that even in football, that there was a time that he had a midfielder that was Brazilian. He's Nigerian. That it got to a point that the guy wasn't passing to him because he knows that Nigeria, but he will give it to somebody else. From his zones. Just and what the guy did, and the guy left the club. He found a way to leave the club. It was his choice. He could have stayed there and killed his career. Just as saying, I'm not saying it's easy to find that alternative. You know what I'm saying? But even your auntie had this man that I have a choice, but this I'll teach you. No doubt, yes. There's racism and there's tribalism. That's why I said even our parents, all of our parents, they put in our head that this is how we should, this is what they want, this is what they want, this is what they want. Now, the generation that we are right now, already having this kind of I don't need to marry. So we have to start changing that thinking. And that's what coming from.
I feel like we all have a choice sometimes, which is really hard because if you're being bullied and a white man bullies a black person, it's really hard to just, especially when they're kind of overpowered you and stuff like that. So I feel like sometimes you have a choice. Like I gave an example of my friend who's a footballer, he's a striker, and is black, and the midfielder is actually white. He wasn't passing to the striker, so he couldn't even make it to the team because of the guy wasn't actually feeding him balls to score. So he had to be on the bench. But he made a choice to leave and look for another club. Yes, I know it's really hard. The situations whereby it's so hard, especially when you've lived your life there and all that kind of thing, you know. So, but all I keep saying is that if you have a choice, leave. No matter how hard it is, life is unfair already. You understand? So you don't say because it's going to be really hard and stuff. All that stuff from and all that. Because if you keep getting bullied that way, you're gonna remain in one place forever. So what's the point? Life is hard.
When you're victimized, you have a choice. It doesn't mean nobody is trying to dispute the fact that yes, fine, your points, there's a choice, but is the choice easy? No, it's not. Yes, hold on. Because the way you guys make hold on, the way you guys make it seem. Yes, the way you make it seem is like it's just okay for me to give them. Hold on, Papa, please, I'm talking.
I'm finished.
Now, like I was saying, nobody said it's easy to just. I mean, it's like you just stand up, like Shator's auntie. You just stand up and say, "I'm not going to pay my mortgage. I'm going to leave because that's my choice." That's the only choice I have because I'm not being paid well. People are not treating me well. They're discriminating me at my work. That's what you guys are saying. Now, the real point I wanted to make is that why I believe that there's no black privilege is because a black person cannot go into, let's say, a store now.
Where?
And hold on. Forget Africa. Say I'm in Germany.
Where
good example.
Where they're the minority.
Thank you. Now,
so you have to be clear when you're speaking.
Of course, I'm not even in Africa because obviously we're more populated with black people. If I'm outside Africa, I'm a minority anywhere I go. So the point I'm making here is that if I go somewhere, I'm racially discriminated and I'm fighting for myself. That doesn't mean I have privilege. That means I'm fighting for myself. No, but hold on. I'm sorry. Let me finish. A white person, what white privilege really means is that white people get the best respect. White people, when you're entering the bus. From everyone.
Black people don't.
They don't.
They get respect.
Okay, you get. I get really I'm sorry, please let me just finish. Let me finish what I'm saying and I'll be quiet.
I get respect.
I get respect, so I get disrespected as well. And I don't ask for the disrespect, but they still give it to me.
So white people don't get disrespected.
It's not on the same level. Let me finish. I've entered a bus, me and my friend entered a bus. This white meth head just opened that stupid mouth to say, "What the fucking monkeys doing now in this bus? Who let them in? Who let them in my city?" I'm like, "But only two black people. Are we the monkeys?" I was lost as fuck. Did I do anything to her? Does she know me from Jack or Adam? That's just one instance of the things that I have gone through. With
you're a mug. That's how I tell you. For accepting that.
I didn't accept it. Let me tell you something
about white people. There's people that don't keep quiet. What are you talking about?
She can abuse her back.
You even cut me off. I stood up because I don't have time to be fighting some drug yesterday. I went to the bus driver and told the guy, "Are you listening to what this man is saying?" I pulled his car over. I'm going to call the cops. Simple. And told her to get off from the bus. Simple. Now that doesn't mean hold on. That doesn't mean I am it's not my privilege.
What gave you the right to go and meet the bus driver?
What gave me the right? I am an individual.
I seriously think that there's little or no such thing as black privilege because there are some instances like now that you really have to fight for your right. Imagine in an example for a fact, Josie made an example. Sheito made another one. Josie was like she entered the bus and there was a girl that was like, "You monkeys, what are you guys doing on this bus? You guys should fuck off. Like, who let them in our country? You let them in this bus." And she needed to fight for herself. She had to go and meet the bus driver that you need to get this girl off this bus. So she's fighting for herself as a human being. And in that sense, for the fact that she actually went through that, the black privilege is little. Okay, for example, Sheito as well. She went into a store, a luxury store. And the guy was like, "This is not a $1 store. That's so disrespectful." But she needed to handle it. But she handled it and let him know and educated him that, I'm coming here to buy whatever I feel like buying and I can afford to buy. Google Nigerians. We have money. Do you get? We are black. Not because of the fact that I'm black, that doesn't mean I have to be in a $1 store. I'm black and I can still afford this because I work hard for my money. So that's what I think. So I think basically that black privilege is not in existence or very, very little. Do you understand? It is very little, like it is minimal. It is so small because we're going through a lot just as being black.
What are you saying?
That is your privilege!
Are you listening?
You're saying that is what I have been doing. Black privilege, don't miss me. See, I have been just black privilege to see put your own into the privilege.
You should always shout your privilege out. Everybody shouting.
Don't be staring at everybody. Just make your
Nobody can hear you. Nobody can still hear you.
I don't care. I'm going to shout go off if nobody allows me to speak when I want to speak because I allow every other person to speak.
We actually
Shout
go black
if I
privilege.
want to. Doesn't make
Can you guys keep quiet?
Just be quiet. Let them read talk.
No, it's not you that is talking.
Because I was saying something.
Yes, keep quiet.
I need to say something.
Because I'm shouting here.
Let me talk. Shut up. Let me talk.
So guys.
I think it's because most people have not experienced you've not lived outside this country for like how many years?
What?
No. Visiting is not living.
What are you saying?
It's not living there. Don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted.
I don't even ashamed people that are shouting. How long do you live in? How many people live there that are shouting?
I'm not trying to shoot a shot. The point I'm making is that because she's not living that reality. Why you feel oppressed? Why you feel
Guys.
this person why you feeling type of way about that statement? Why you feeling
I'm not that table. I'm talking about the table.
why you tell me
Moderator, please.
The only point I'm telling you is because you guys don't live in that reality, so you don't understand.
Which guys? Which guys? Calm down.
Alright guys, in conclusion, I believe you are way ahead of time. As much as everyone wants to say, there's something as black privilege, it's hard to say there's black privilege when you open on your TV, the first thing you see is that someone gets shot in his backyard. It's hard to actually say you want to fall back on that. So I think it's the mentality that we've been brought up in. So it's left for us to instill this mentality on our children, on the next generation. It starts with you. You can't keep picking fights for every small thing. Trying to play the race card, but I still. There are some certain things you need to basically just finding the right balance. So basically, I think that's just my take
I
on
want
this.
to quickly say racism does exist and tribalism does exist. First of all, we need to understand what this privilege is. A white man can be walking like someone gave an example that the person is getting one. It's possible that you can say, oh, what if? But the point is that it's possible that a white man and a black man are working in an establishment and the white man is getting paid more. It's black. It's white. It's happening. It's white. It's white.
Without no extra experience whatsoever.
Without a white person and a black person, the white person can get paid more, like I was saying. But you will not see in America. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you will not see. You hardly ever see an establishment where the black person is getting paid more because he's black. That is why there is no black privilege. You are fighting for yourself as a human being, but that doesn't mean that you are getting shit for free like a white man would do. That is what they call white privilege. You have to fight for it, so there's no privilege. You're getting it through fighting.
I think what Demlade is trying to say about black privilege is that in that black man. In that fighting for it,
you can give yourself the privilege,
it's not a privilege. That's what I'm trying to say now. See that guy.
You say they don't like you,
so what the man is trying to say is that in that exercising your right as a black person is what is going to actually raise up the bars or the standards for black privilege. So let me tell you, that guy, I didn't even tell you what I actually told that guy. I gave that guy, I told him, I said, see, Nigerians, go and Google us. We have money. I entered your store, you're coming to meet me, and you're asking me dollar store. I can buy everything. Google, I don't like that somebody that just give him something. Do you understand? But trust me. If another person enters that, like, the guy will first gauge before he opens his mouth to say nonsense. Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like it's in that we as black people or we as Africans can actually, in every situation we find ourselves, try and don't just say, oh, okay, or I'm going to just leave it as it is. I'm going to actually, no, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying that in conclusion, in doing that, we are fighting for our black privilege that we've already lost. See the person now, guys,
asked me a question. Everybody's calling
And you listened to him when she was talking.
When I'm hearing the what
Why are you guys arguing to conclusion? Please finish.
I'm just saying. I'm not even
it's going to be really, really, really hard to stop tribalism and racism, because to be honest, it's a long way to be honest. I wish that God created us in a way where the blacks have their own country and the whites have their own country, so we don't even go to their country.
We do.
So there will be nothing like that.
But that's how you were.
No. I mean that. I wish that was it. There will be no reason for racism. To be honest, it's only when we give each other space. Yeah, it's only when we give each other space. That's what it's racism. I'm just saying, but obviously,
because black people have not kill each other. You understand? Racism between themselves.
If you understand, so if you are not in that space, there will be no racism now.
Human race don't like each other.
Yeah, to be fair.
There's only one race.
Even in Lagos, you are killing all the people in Kenya. Is it not part of racism?
So viewers, make sure you exercise your black privilege today.
Yes.
Check it out.
I say so too.